specifically because you and I, and that's kind of the great thing about our dynamic sometimes, is my approach to competition in powerlifting is a little bit more like, I'll handle what I can do and then the numbers take care of themselves. But you had a totally different approach, and I'll let you describe that here in a second. But just as successful, you were a successful powerlifter, but a great example of two different ways that you could do it. Do you want to give your perspective on that meet day and like how you were feeling with your
So
competitors?
I still looked at it. Competition was like a football game. Like you hate the other team. You're bred the whole week. You hate these guys. So I walked in and I saw my competition and they're warming up and they're fun. They're laughing. They're joking. They're having a good time with each other because they're just trying to beat personal best. But my opinion is like I'm here to win and like don't. And for some odd reason, I don't really want them talking to me when I'm trying to get ready for it. But because my mentality is I hate you, so don't come over to me. But I got better as the competitions went on being that. But yeah, it definitely came with more of a football mentality of I'm here to beat you. I don't care what the number is going to be, but I'm going to try to beat you. So, the goal is always try to win, not necessarily PR, but more I'm taking home the gold. So that's kind of the outlook I had when I first started.
Yeah, and I remember just being shocked, like, because we would be like in the warm-up line or like lined up for attempts, and someone would miss a lift, and you would be like almost like yes, like celebrating, and I'd be like, whoa, like we can't do that.
Yeah, or they're like, hey, you did a really good lift. What? Well, talk to me.
Right? Yeah, and it's just interesting because like once the meet was over, I think you could turn that off. Like once the dust had settled, whoever won, you could talk to them.
Right. Yeah.
But that was like part of your focus was, all of your energy went into those are the enemy, and I'm going to prove it by moving this weight.
Right. And that was like I said, about the football mentality, when I got it a lot from my senior year of high school. We had a new coach come in and he talked to us and was like, it's us versus them. And that was the mentality every day. Like he'd make up scenarios to like just make us angry. Like, oh, you should have heard what that kid just said about you or whatever. Or like that coach said this about you before he left, or, just kind of would try to fuel the fire. And it's like, oh, it's me versus you. I hate you. So yeah, that was definitely, it would, like I said, it settled down as I got used to it, but that was definitely the mentality coming in.
Yeah. And it certainly helped, I think, because you were strong enough to back it up a bit. Whereas sometimes I caution people who are newer getting in, and if you have that, like, my whole purpose for this meet is to go and win, but you haven't been training for very long and you don't have the lifts to truly compete, you could be really discouraged. Yeah. And I think it just happened to work out well that, you had that strength base to back that up and kind of like build momentum by winning your first meet at states and then moving on and eventually winning a collegiate national championship, which we'll talk about, and getting some records, which, that's a snowball and a great example of like how you can be successful with a different mindset than maybe something that I would preach to someone just getting into it.
And, it's funny you say that, like the hop in the back of thing too, because when I went to the battle for the Great Lakes, there was a cat that was like that. And I wasn't super vocal towards other people, but he was super vocal towards me. And you need to hurry up. Yeah. You need to hurry up warming up and he would like talk all this stuff. And then he'd go out there and like my opener for deadlift, he can't get it. I'm like, you might not want to be a jerk if you can't back it up,
Yeah. And it's interesting. There's that fine line too of like, I don't know. And going back to football, because we're leading in that direction too. I remember in high school when I played football, it's like, if you're going to talk smack, back it up.
You better
with
bring
some
it.
hits, right? Yeah. Don't talk back and then, bring something soft.
Yeah, get
And
ran over.
I've run into similar situations, I would say, like at meets where you see people and it's to each their own. Like it takes each person a different process to get where they need to be to compete. And, I've told this story before. I don't think I've told it on the channel, but whenever I used to help out Penn State, their powerlifting team, I go down occasionally, train with them. There was this one lifter I was training for 2019. Yeah, 2019 Collegiate Nationals. And I was the favorite going into that meet. Penn State's lifter for my weight class would not talk to me or like even acknowledge me. And I would like go in and train and you're like cordial with everybody, and he just wanted nothing to do with me. And I'm pretty sure on meet day at collegiates, because I just took that energy, kind of like you. I'm
Right.
different. Like I'll just take it, and instead of being angry at the person, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna prove you wrong, kind of situation, which I think is where we get similar. But I think I ended up out totaling him by like 600 pounds. I like didn't need to deadlift.
Right.
And that's that fine line of like, at that point, let's just be friends. Like we'll lift together, and it's just not close enough. At these like big meets where it's close, I can understand some tension, like you're kind of describing. So that kind of moves me into